Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going over the new Diana spoilers. So we got the Diana champion as well as some new cards for Targon and one card for PNZ. So the first card we have is of course Diana the champion. She's a 2-mana 2/2 quick attack, Nightfall, grant me challenger this round. And you've activated Nightfall 4+ times. And when she's leveled up, she states Nightfall when you activate Nightfall, or when you activate another Nightfall, give me +2 attack and challenger this round. So, she reminds me a lot of Lucian with a 2-mana body on a 2-mana 2/2 with quick attack. It's very similar to Lucian. Lucian has 3 attack. The level up trigger is also very similar. Instead, Lucian usually says, or Lucian says, he's leveled up when 4+ allies die. She says she levels up when you've activated Nightfall 4 times, which is super interesting. Leveling up Nightfall 4 times is not going to be very difficult for the deck. It's not actually going to be a challenge at all, especially if you count Diana as one of the triggers, but she's usually not living until the level up, so you're going to have to just use her leveled up version as you play her instead of having her on board and playing into her. You're not going to want to spend the mana to protect her, and most people will just remove her because her leveled up form is actually kind of scary. Giving her extra attack and challenger means she can basically kill anything in play, which means she's a very mid-range card, unlike Nocturne, who seem to be a very aggro build. Although, so far, Nightfall has actually gotten some pretty strong tools for a okay mid-range deck. I think that Diana would work very well in that deck, just being a great card to remove things. It's not a finisher by any means, but it is a great utility card for maybe a Nightfall mid-range deck. But I'm not sure how that would work with Nocturne as a champion. I don't really know if they would work well together, so we'll just have to experiment and see how well they work together. But Diana being a cool way to kill your opponent's creatures, and a 2/2 quick attack is not that bad, especially when you can give it challenger and can choose what it kills. So very much a mid-range card. And then her champion spell, Pale Cascade, is a 2-mana burst speed, grant an ally +2 and +2/+1 this round. Nightfall, draw 1. So I'm going to compare this with the other card, I don't even remember what it's called, the 3-mana, give an ally +2/+1 and Overwhelm or something like that, or +1/+2 and Overwhelm, from Targon, but in the Leona spoilers, right? So I've pulled it up. It's 3-mana +1/+2 and Overwhelm, and if you Daybreak, draw Zenith Blade. So this card is sort of the opposite version of that. It's 2-mana burst speed, give an ally an extra attack, and you get to draw a card, any card. So this card has more potential than the Zenith Blade, but being 2 mana to draw 1 and give an ally +2 attack, okay, it has some utility, especially if you're playing elusives. You can give them extra attack and keep drawing, but 2 mana for that effect is just a little bit underwhelming. I mean, like, 2 mana for 2 attack, that just replaces itself. So basically, you give the creature to, for one time only, you may give a creature 2 attack for 2 mana. That's usually not the best thing ever. The 1 health is gonna matter in some cases, but not a lot. Overall, I think it's a decent card for a mid-range deck. It does help you activate Nightfall for Diana. Being her champion spell is great. Being a champion spell that can draw a card is great. I don't know how it's gonna work in the deck itself. It might just be strong enough in the meta to be worth playing, especially with the card draw, but we also haven't seen a lot of good Nightfall triggers, and so having this card require you to have played Nightfall means you're usually playing it later, and at that point it's just low impact. It is drawing you a card, but 2 mana, yeah, I don't know. It seems a little too low impact to make sense in the Nightfall deck, but I could be very wrong. The next card we have is Cygnus, the Moonstalker. I definitely said that wrong. It's a 6-mana 4/2 with Nightfall, grant me and an ally elusive this round. So it's like the Navori Blade Scout, where it only gets Nightfall that round, but it's an automatic 4 attack, and it gives another ally elusive, which with Diana can actually mean a ton of damage. It's an automatic 5 damage to the opponent's Nexus with Diana, and with the Cygnus, it's actually like a total of 9 damage for the 6 mana card as long as you've activated Nightfall, which turn 6 on curve might be a little bit harder than it sounds, especially when you've used your other Nightfall cards. But if you're playing this turn 7, turn 8 with 1 drop or something, it won't be that hard. Or 1 cost card, or 2 cost card. But anyway, this card has some serious potential with Diana. Giving Diana Elusive can be super powerful in a Nightfall deck because she can just help you close out the game. Doesn't really work well with Nocturne. Nocturne wants you to be playing cheap units, and this card doesn't do that, so I don't know if this card is going to be a good card for Nocturne. It means being super expensive, give an ally Elusive, only matters if you have another ally you want to give Elusive, and if your opponent isn't playing Elusives and Nocturne wants to get around the opponent's board with the Fearsome and giving your opponent's creatures minus attack, and this card is 6 mana, which is too expensive for the creatures because Nocturne wants you to be playing a ton of cheap creatures into that. So this card doesn't really work well with Nocturne. It's great with Diana. It's great for an Elusive deck, and with the Elusive we saw yesterday, this card could actually be very powerful at being a good Elusive Targon card, right? And closing out the game, it has a lot of... it's very strong at doing that. It does get killed pretty easily with 2 health, but whatever it gives Elusive is probably going to be something pretty big and something that can just hit in for a ton of damage. Giving this to what was I? Oh, I just had it in my Vi. Giving this to Vi would be super strong, especially when Poro Cannon is a 0-cost card that can give Vi an extra attack. Poro Cannon says to play, discard 1, create 2 Daring Poros in hand, and the 2 Daring Poros can give Vi extra attack, and they're both elusives. Just seems like a good deck to me, right? But you already have so many ways to give Vi elusive, so I'm not sure that's kind of redundant, right? Anyway, this card seems pretty nice. Having a good finisher in this card for a Nightfall deck is something we haven't really seen. I mean, like, the only one we've really seen is Nocturne, and he has a hard time doing it. And Diana doesn't really support him that much. Diana seems more like a mid-range card, and Nocturne seems more like an aggro card. But maybe Nocturne could work in a mid-range build. You just have to play very differently. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm actually pretty excited. Diana is different than I thought she would be. She looks pretty good. Giving Challenger just something to be able to snipe it. It's just going to all work out on how many things have 2 health. How often can she kill something and how quickly she can level up. And maybe a card like Pale Cascade can help her level up so fast that you're going to be playing it. Poro Cannon already talked about. It's a pretty great card. Discarding 1 to draw 2. I say draw with air quotes because it's giving you 2 Daring Poros, but that could easily be rummage fodder, right? And that's pretty strong. We've seen Chump Wump, I think. Chump Wump has been played just for the discard fodder, and this card does that pretty well. It discards a card, and it creates 2 cards to discard for 0 mana. So basically, you're giving yourself 1 extra card for rummage, and this card... Well, okay, so this card is 0 mana, discard 2 if you count itself, and create 2 Daring Poros. There are some discard synergies. You can discard something like Flame Chompers for free value. The Daring Poros might be nice. Low impact, 0-cost card is nice. I don't know, actually, how good this card's going to be. It's basically discard 2 to create 2 cards in hand, which actually doesn't help with the discard fodder now that I think about it, because it and the card it's discarding are both discard fodder. So it's creating 2 cards, but you have to discard 2 cards, or you use 2 cards in the process. So I'm not sure what this card's trying to do. The Daring Poros might be good elusives that can just get in damage. Maybe a good aggro deck wants this for the elusive way to finish out the game if you're pumping your dudes up. I don't know. Very interesting card. I'm not sure where it fits, but I'm not really an expert on PNZ or aggro, so maybe I'm just undervaluing this card, but it just seems pretty bad to me. And the last card we have is Hush. 3 mana burst speed, silence a unit this round to create a fleeting Hush in hand. So, like Noxian Guillotine, where it can just create infinite versions of itself, You can keep playing it as long as you have mana. But this says silence a unit instead of kill a damaged unit. Silencing a unit is not that powerful. There are certain situations, like against the They Who Endure and stuff, that this card could be super powerful. But, and guys, I didn't believe this when I first read the card. But look at Purify. Purify says silence a follower. This card says silence a unit. That means it can silence champions. Silencing champions, guys. That's insane. You can silence their Lucian at burst speed. You can silence their... Okay, whatever champion. You can silence their Leona, their Diana, I guess, their Nocturne, whatever. You can silence a champion. You can silence Heimerdinger. It only says for that round, but that is still very impactful. It's not permanent like Purify is, so that's something to note. But usually, well, there are certain situations where you'd rather get Purify for the permanent silence. But this card, being able to silence a champion, even if it's just for the round, and get multiple versions of itself with the creative fleeting in hand. Wow, I mean, silencing a champion for one round could be the end of the game. Silence their Lucian, their leveled up Hecarim, whatever it is, and you can just take over the game super quickly. Now, this card is a tech card. Silencing a unit can be powerful in a lot of situations, so I see it being a good tech card. It's usually never a dead card in hand, although, I mean, it might be sometimes, right, if your opponent's not playing very strong units or units that have good abilities. But, I mean, this card just has so much utility. I have a hard time seeing it being a bad card, especially when it has the capability to silence champions. I think everyone's going to be blowing up about this card. And I think everyone's going to be blowing up about this card, and, you know, it's actually just kind of insane being able to silence a champion. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Diana being a great mid-range card. I'm actually more excited about Hush than I am Diana. The ability to silence a champion is just insane. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.